Live now.
All right, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. One of our first broadcasts since the school year ended and closed in June, and we're so happy to be back with you all on Facebook Live on Trenton Talks, WIMG 1300 AM, WPHY Verizon Channel 28, our sponsors. And my name is Gerald Trueheart. I'm your host, a board member for Trenton Board of Ed, Vice President. Our co-host Denise Crease is on, of course, with us this afternoon. And our board members, our board president, Yolando Moreto Lopez, Jean Bowie, Addie Daniels Lane, one of our past presidents, Austin Edwards, one of our new board members, Denise Johnson, Sasa Elisi Montana, one of our newest board members, and Jeannie Weeklam. So we're so thankful to have the opportunity with our superintendent, Mr. James Earle, who is here this evening with us on the broadcast to share around our redistricting plan. He thought it was so very important to share new information because it's always moving and always changing. It never stays the same. And so it's important for us to come to you all and share more information about redistricting. So Mr. James Earle, our superintendent, is here this afternoon. Mr. Earle, so what do you have for us around our redistricting plan, update on redistricting this afternoon?
Thank you, Mr. Trueheart and Mrs. Crease. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a while since I've been on the radio show to share information about redistricting, and we thought this time of year, it's late July, there have been so many things moving in that process that we thought it was important to share an update as we currently see it. So what I wanted to do, there's tons of old information on the website dating back to the first presentation where we had numbers that don't look anything like they look now. And so I wanted to let the public know about, registrations. We registered nearly 1,500 students since I came on at that time. And some of the decisions we made during those early presentations have since shifted. Programs have come back to schools that we thought they wouldn't be in, such as special education or bilingual programs. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to go back through the presentation to also get it posted so that our community can see new information and updated information, talk a bit about transportation, safe routes to school, all those things that we're really working on that will likely carry us into the new year, working on them, making sure we get things implemented to ensure students get to school safely and can enjoy school. And that we have schools that are reduced in size, classrooms reduced, some of the goals that were outlined in the original presentation still remain the goals as we see them now. So I just wanted to take an opportunity today to spend some time with you and share the information about redistricting. And of course, this will be posted and I'm available at jearle at trenton.k12.nj.us, my email. You can access me on the website for any questions or any member of my team. So if I can, Mr. Trueheart, can I share screen?
Yes, Denise.
Yes, you are able to share.
Okay. All right, can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So what you have before you is the presentation, the redistricting plan. I'm just going to go through it as we always have done, talk through some of the things that we've experienced. Some of the things I want to note before I get started is that special education numbers in these counts will likely change. We had a large number of students to evaluate this summer. We're still in that process with the intent to have those done by the start of the school year. However, that will shift some numbers and potentially even programming in some of our schools as we determine what the needs of our students are as it relates to IEPs and classification. So just keep in mind, these numbers are based on information that's still moving. The information changed each week. From the first presentation, I think the numbers grew. Some of you were able to see that and be a part of watching that process take place. So I appreciate your patience. Also, general education numbers will likely increase at the K-3 level. We have only about half the registrants in kindergarten at this point. And we anticipate being at our regular numbers by the start of school. So as you look at numbers, just know that there will be increases in areas. However, we have seen some shifts, some slowdown in registrations, which means we're starting to stabilize some. That probably doesn't change. I think we register students and families all year long. So it's an expectation that we will do that and continue to do it and do it well. So just wanted to point those things out. So we still have a lot of work to do, but I'll jump right into the presentation. So how it started, as I've shared before, the board requested that Superintendent Lee perform a demographic study in the city, in the district, to determine what our population, what the numbers, what we were seeing in terms of population, not only by numbers, but by race and by a number of things, just to determine where we were in terms of population size, and could we continue to serve students in the schools that were open. That demographic study had not been done in 10 years. Most districts do those every 3 to 5 years, just to get a sense of enrollment numbers, to make sure that they stay ahead of any increases or to be aware of decreases and how they might be able to change and shift that. There was overcrowded classrooms, significant frustration in schools, and likely because we had overflow schools that were on the other side of town. So many of our families were traveling because our schools were full. So the goal was to try to reduce and eliminate a good bit of that. And we think through this plan that we were able to do that. Our 5-year enrollment projection results, student population was going to increase by 15%. And as I discussed earlier on, we've seen an increase, a pretty steep increase now. And part of this is just the summertime, lots of movement, transient families. So our numbers are really going to shake out in about October. We're really going to be comfortable with what we see, but it's important for us to project what we know. And you know, we know these families are living, our families are living in Trenton, and you know, we're going to do our best to confirm that, and these numbers will be the numbers that we go with as we get closer to September. So enrollment projection findings, this is just the details about the 15%, what that looks like. We're seeing growth right now. So in 2014-15, you can see where we were at 11,149 students. It's projected by 24-25, we will be around 15,000, which is a 14.7% jump. If we move at the rate we're moving now, we're likely going to get there before 24-25. So it was really important to open these 5 schools, create space, opportunity for growth, and then even the opportunity to start discussing new spaces or different spaces, because we may end up in a situation where we do need more space. So that's going to take work and take time, but we're really impressed at the work that our team is doing, getting the buildings ready. It was a huge project, probably more than any of us knew, but we feel confident about the position we're in as it stands today. The density of the population in Trenton, this will all be shared, I say, because this may be small as you see it. This will be on the website, so you can blow it up and take a look. The heaviest density, most of our people reside in the Mott, Robbins, Franklin, that area, PJ Hill, all on that area of town. You can see the darker splotches. That signifies where most of our families live in Trenton. So it was important that we know that. And if you look to the left of your screen, you can see that the west side of Trenton is less populated. And so the goal was to open some of those areas up. We had several schools on that side, Stokes, Cadwallader, elementary schools, open those up so that then we can redraw the maps, because redistricting is really redrawing the attendance maps. Where students would go to school, we just took an opportunity to see if we could reduce class size, create walking schools so that some of those students who are now traveling to schools across town can actually stay closer to home, and to open up some opportunities for bilingual education, special education in more schools, so that wasn't restricted as it used to be. So we think we accomplished that goal. Of course, we don't get everything we want in the plan, but we think we're better off and we can serve students better, and students can access their program where needed in the district. So initial goals of this effort was relief for Dunn Middle School. We've accomplished that. We're going to be lower, we hope, as the population continues to grow. We see Dunn rising. However, we think we're going to meet our goal in terms of relief there. We don't have near 1,000 students like we used to have, but our numbers grew since we started the presentation. So it was important to know that Dunn is creeping back there because families are moving there. So we're going to keep our eyes on Dunn and determine what's the cutoff and start looking at the other 2 middle schools for space. And that may include some different decisions regarding transportation and things like that. As much as possible, and that's important, all programs in all schools. And we say as much as possible because if we have the need for a student in a school and it's just that student or just 2, we'll likely be getting a student to another school that has the programs, but closer to home than in the past. So as much as possible, we've seen growth in our programming with autism and bilingual. So we're going to see those programs in more schools instead of having a school that's the bilingual center and all students have to be transported in that direction. We have improved those efforts in this redistricting plan.
You know what, Superintendent,
Yes.
Mr. Earle, I think it's important. We had in several board meetings that we had community members, whether they be staff members or parents, come out and kind of ask that question about programs in schools. And I think you've already done an excellent job of communicating that, not only tonight, but on that occasion and other occasions. But it's so worth mentioning that programs are being provided in schools where there is a need for those programs based on how our enrollment is moving and shifting since the first presentation has moved and shifted somewhat. And so I think that's worth reiterating, and just want to really hone in on that point so parents and folks can understand that yes, programs are going to be offered in schools where there is a demonstrated need based on the numbers. Would that be a true assessment?
That's absolutely correct. We actually, to give you an example, we had not projected ESL services and supports. We had very few students when we began this journey. We have since changed course, and ESL is now back at Copeland, which is the old Columbus school. So we do have ESL services back there. So we are working really hard. That's, as I said, that changes even by tomorrow. Now, it did slow down some. We had 3 registrations, to be quite honest, where we registered nearly 1,000 people in 3 weekends or 3 weeks over time. And that's a drastic number. So we're really looking for those after testing and after placement and those types of things. We're going to put the programs where we have the most students, and every student who's eligible and have met the criteria and have been designated will receive the services at the location they reside. So we have solved that, but programs may pop up between now and September 1st. So we're going to continue that.
I'm sure Columbus was happy. Now Dr. Crosby Copeland Elementary School was very, very pleased to hear.
Yeah.
I believe they were one of the groups that
Yep.
came out to share their concern. And
Yep.
you shared at that time at the board meeting very succinctly that you were looking at it and that based on the numbers, it would dictate the program. And here we are today, almost a month, maybe 2 months later, and those programs, ESL programs, are back over at
Yep.
Dr. Crosby Copeland Elementary School. So
Yep.
that's a testimony to your word and also to the work that's happening in the district.
Yep. It's good work, good people doing good work. And then, of course, using the buildings effectively. Opening 5 buildings is no small task because you're opening buildings that have not been operational for years. So it's like opening an old house. What do you discover? You think, okay, it's fine, it'll be ready to go, but to accommodate the number of teachers and students, is it physically ready? So we've spent a lot of time and lots of time making sure it's safe. We have good air quality, it's clean, the spaces are adequate for how we service students. So it's been a real challenge, but the team has been terrific. And so we are hopeful. I was hoping that by now some of the schools would be open, but we're cleaning, we're getting them ready. And as soon as their opportunity knocks for people to visit, we are going to put that out to the public. You can come by, we'll do several open houses, even if it's a week before school. At least you get to walk through your school, kind of see what it looks like, meet your principal. So we're really excited about being able to use the buildings more effectively.
Yeah, you promised that, and here you're going to deliver on being able, as a parent, being able to visit that local school where my child is going to go. So I thank you so much. That was a promise that you made, I think, in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Once schools were available, that you would open them up.
Yeah.
And we're almost there, folks. Just give us a little more time. We're almost there. Great. That's awesome. Thank you.
So we post the timeline of events, and we put part 1 on this because it's important. When we started this process, all I had was part 1, but part 2 is alive and well now. So I'll share that with you. We had an initial 4x4 meetings in January or February of the year before I arrived, town hall meetings. When I got here with families and staff, I went out several times. I was on TV, BOE radio, Peterson's Breaking News. I was in schools. I've been with administrators, been with association leaders discussing this plan. So we tried to get information out, answer those tough questions, be understanding about why this may be difficult for those who have to move and go to new schools. We understand that. So we haven't backed away from that and tried to be as supportive as we could. And I want to thank the teachers and counselors and custodians and everyone, food service staff and paraprofessionals. And I could go down that list. I don't want to miss anyone, but everyone who's making the sacrifice about leaving their building that they've been in for 5 years or 20 years to go and do this work for children in another place. So it's been really exciting to watch that part of it grow because people have said, I get it, we do need to do this, and that makes a difference. So as you can see, the question was considered before the board in February of 2021. The board accepted the report of the demographer, and we remain status quo the 21-22 year. And that was this last year while I was here. And as the last line is probably more important and maybe should have been first, but as I'm doing right now, several more iterations of the plan considered since February. And this is, I don't know, probably in double digits, the newest iteration.
You know, Mr. Earle, as you know, I was over at Kilmer for our Trenton Explorers program, just visiting with committee members and the team, your team over there with Joanne Sung and her supervisors and team and teachers and parents and actually not parents, but students and teachers. And you mentioned about the transition and teachers transitioning from one building to another. And one of the teachers was there, very excited about education, very excited about teaching, expressed her excitement and shared stories. And she had mentioned that she'll be moving to a new school, but she was really excited about the opportunity to serve kids. And I think that's what you're feeling and hearing from teachers, that they're excited about serving kids. And I just wanted to share that one story without naming names, but
Yeah.
that one story, a teacher's name that is, that one story from a teacher over at Trenton in the Trenton Explorers program over at Kilmer, that expressed her excitement about teaching and her movement to a new school and teaching new students that she's going to meet for the first time, and some that she's already taught in the past. So
yeah, that's awesome. I think quite often it's change is difficult because of the unknown. So we're going to do our best to make more known. And what that means is this year on the last day or the day before the last day for staff, we had them meet with their new principals in their new buildings. And so that demystifies who the person is, the building, where I'm going to a new place, the new structure, what it might look like, where I might be placed. So we think that created some comfort. And our principals are doing a terrific job of generating some excitement around a new opportunity. So we're excited about that too. So timeline of events part 2. This was important because we thought we should make this known. So the board voted to implement town hall meetings since the plan was approved. We've mailed letters to families advising them of their new school assignment based on address in Power School. The letters advised the parent to update their addresses. So that was on current addresses. So we recommend and strongly encourage families, if you're watching this, make sure your address information is updated, because you could be pointed to the wrong school, and we would prefer we get you in the right location. We created a residency exemption process where we allowed some families to, in extenuating circumstances, waivers to stay or to attend different schools. And so what that means is if you have a brother at a school who needs to access a special education service and you're in 2nd grade, your brother's in 3rd, we want you two as siblings to go to the same school if that school has 2nd and 3rd. So we've done about 120 of those. And then we have a long waiting list of individuals asking. We had to put a close on that just to get us settled. We plan to go back to that mid-August and start looking at that list. The waiting list operates this way. When opportunity comes about, so if you completed the form is dated and you are it's first person in by date. So if your request came, a space becomes available, we place you in that location you requested. And we anticipate that there will be opportunities simply because people move, transition, and shift. So putting that exemption process in place, giving families the comfort to know it was being considered, and we've read them all, considered them all, and we will continue to do that. And it's not out of the question that it could be October and we make, a change for those who still are interested. So we ask families to be patient as we go through that process.
Yeah, Mr. Earle, that's about really helping families, being sensitive to the needs of families. And I am so pleased. I know there was a lot of dialogue and conversation around, well, what if, going to this school and anxiety with parents and so forth, right? But with this process in place and being able to, even though you might be on the wait list, right? But you still have an opportunity, to have your voice heard and be able to make a decision and change and potentially change in the school location and so forth based on your circumstance. So I applaud you and your team for putting this in place, because this shows that we care about our parents and care about our students and want to give the opportunity as best we can to being assigned to different schools, but also based on your circumstance and the fact that we are redistricting, and there's somewhat discomfort for some folks. And so I just wanted to just share that. I think that was well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So here was our final school list. I know this has changed a few times. We didn't have a few schools in here, and I think we've changed a couple, but right now, starting September 7th or 8th, whenever we begin, this will be the list. This is what we are working to open. So you can see on the left, there should be 13 K-3 schools. As many of you know, I hope that you were aware that we had a school renaming committee, and we are proud to announce Dr. Crosby Copeland Elementary School, which is the old Christopher Columbus School, and Mrs. Darlene McKnight Elementary School, which is the old Wilson School. We will have ribbon cutting ceremonies. We're waiting on our signage, but if we don't get signage, we're going to have an opening of the school year celebration at those two locations, just to signify how awesome that opportunity is for us to make those changes. But 13 K-3 schools, 6 4-6 schools, and 3 7-8 schools. The demographer identified that the large majority of our students were in the 4-6 grade bands. So that's why you see a reduction in the middle schools. And we also wanted to focus on that K-3 band. We know how critical it is that students have tremendous foundations. I thought the board did an excellent job before I got here of determining we wanted to put severe focus there so that our students were well prepared reading and on with math before they get to the 4-6 intermediate level. And then we could do some really neat things, start engaging our students in some project-based learning at the 4-6 level, and of course preparing them for high school and post-secondary at the 7-8 level to really ramp up. So this is the structure for the new year, so we're excited about our schools. So just so you can see, this gets into the maps. And as I said, this will be posted. So if you're seeing it and you're looking for your area, this is a map of Trenton. So K-3 schools are located in these areas. We wanted to create walking schools. So hopefully this benefits individuals who can walk. We know that some distances can be long. We're looking at some safe routes proposals where we may have walking clubs or walking teams that make sure you get to school safe. So we're really excited about our potential plan there, and in the middle of planning that, hope to unveil that in the next few weeks. But you can see the map here where the schools, we opened Stokes Elementary School, we opened Cadwallader, so that's 2 schools open. As you see, the map hasn't changed to Darlene McKnight yet in the right-hand corner, but Wilson is still there. That will become Darlene McKnight Elementary School. Mott, Harrison, you can see the locations. That purple or magenta area is Robbins Elementary. Students who live in that attendance area, if you can relate that to your streets, you kind of know where you're zoned to. And some of our schools, by the way, have filled up already. And I'll show you on the map, they were full early because remember, that's the most densely populated area of the city. So that's where most of our students are. So we were redrawing the map to kind of shift some of the students over to Stokes, Gregory, Cadwallader, Rivera, up in those areas. So really exciting time for trying to reduce size. And we're using the number 21, our class size. We want them to be around 21 students. That gives us the best chance to educate. Classes won't be overcrowded. So you can see some of the numbers here, and just so you know what you're looking at, if you look at Gregory, for instance, we identified the capacity there of 515 students. Currently, we have enrolled 252 general ed students, no bilingual at Gregory as we speak right now, but remember, things shift. 19 special education students for a total of 271. With a difference of 244, which means there's room for growth. That will likely, Gregory will become an overflow school. As we look at schools that meet their max capacity, we will likely have to shift some students maybe from a school that's closer to Gregory. And so that's kind of how that reads. That lets you know if you look across on all of them. So when you see a negative number, that means that we have enrolled 97 more students than what we identified as the capacity. And just so you know, Robbins has more students in it than that right now. So that's not alarming to us because we we were planning for growth, so we may make some decisions about who stays. There may be some special ed programming moved around. We would move bilingual in groups to a school right next door. So we don't anticipate there being huge shifts in these numbers, and we can accommodate what we see on the screen. But I wanted you to know the difference between the negative and the positive number and what that means for what the enrollment looks like right now.
No,
All of our schools, even though we've identified a capacity, we have a little bit more capacity. We're being conservative. We wanted to make sure we keep the numbers low. But in some spaces, we might be able to increase. So we'll be looking at that over the next few weeks. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Trueheart.
Thank you, Mr. Earle. Just wanted to, I know that folks that are on the TV broadcast will be able to see it, and our radio listeners, I just wanted to share, we're looking at a K-3 chart that shows all of our K-3 schools, and some schools that are projecting to be a little bit over. Harrison and Robbins.
Yep.
And those schools then will, as Mr. Earle said, those students, any over capacity, then go to overflow schools within the region of the area of those schools. So that's what we're looking at right now. And so I wanted to just share that information. So folks, hope I explained that, articulated that correctly, Mr. Earle.
You did. You did.
But so folks can, on listening radio, would understand what we're looking at.
Great. So that's elementary. Our 4-6, we're now looking at a map of the 4-6 attendance zones. Remember, there are 6 schools on this map. The pink area is Kilmer. And of course, if you know Kilmer, Jefferson is connected to Kilmer. So Jefferson is the only school outside of the attendance area, meaning it's a bit further in distance. So there'll likely be some transporting of students who fall outside the 2-mile radius for K-8 and the 2.5-mile radius for 9-12 in terms of transportation. It has to be beyond that mile limit. So we'll be looking at that, and we already are, but this gives you a sense of what the map looks like. So if you saw your street or see your street in some of those colored areas, that gives you an idea of where you and your family and cousins and friends may be attending school. So that's exciting also. And then we go to the numbers. You can see the numbers here with Grant, Hedgepeth, Jefferson, Kilmer, Monument, and Parker. Those are the 6 schools. And you can see, again, some of the negative numbers, but we are accommodating for those. And keep in mind that these schools can house more students. What we attempted to do was be conservative and make sure that we kept our numbers at 21, but we may have to add another class and increase the number and go beyond the capacity. But we were very conscious about some of these things, which would then absorb some of these numbers. We also understand that there are some movements taking place in terms of what we know about charter schools. We had a large number of charter school movement in the 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade area recently. So we're going to see what those numbers are. And we're not seeing as many, which is a good thing, but we actually saw some that impact our numbers. So these were the best numbers I had a week ago, and I wanted to put them up. And so when I do that in 2 more weeks, you'll see a whole different group of numbers. Still close, but you'll see the numbers kind of balance out.
One of the things I wanted to ask Mr. Earle is, I know we mentioned class size, student enrollment class size, number of students in the class, 21 at K-3, 21 at 4-6. Is that change as you move up in terms of the different grade spans, or are we looking at 21 across the grades, all grade spans?
Yeah, we did it based on 21. I know that I don't want to speak out of turn. I think that there is an agreement, and I should wait and read it. However,
okay.
I know that the upper levels have in the past done at 24.
Okay.
I think those numbers may be the same capacity, but give me time and I'll make sure that I update that when I discuss it. But we were hoping to be in our district, because of the challenges our students face with some of the things that they come to school with, 21 is a really good number. If we could get to 21, we could actually do some really good work with our children. So we're going to work hard to get there. And in areas where we can, it won't be in the 30s. I can tell you that. Our goal is not to be in the 30s unless we know something and that kids can handle it. I mean, we know with great teachers and great educators, you can have 40 people in a class because kids are in charge of their learning. Great instructors understand how to facilitate and allow students to learn. And when they're learning, that number can be high as you want it to. So that's what we're hoping to create, a world where kids can just choose those special people and teachers say, hey, come on in and let's get the work done. So that's exciting to know. And so our 7-8 map, there are 3 schools identified here. That's Holland Middle School, which says on the map, West Trenton, MS. It'll be Holland Middle School. And then Martin Luther King Middle School and Grace Dunn Middle School. So those will all be middle schools next year. We've combined some areas and some of the areas on this map will certainly exceed the 2-mile limit for K-8 and the 2.5-mile limit for transportation for 9-12. And will receive transportation. We've also identified some hazardous routes that we are considering right now for transportation or to remain in their location. So we're working on both of those right now and have already accommodated many of those. We will continue to do that as we get enrollment and classifications or identification for ESL or bilingual services. So we're excited about that. But the schools look really nice. I've been in all 3, and just to have a look, to know that we have a chance to open new spaces. And, you know, Martin Luther King was in middle school last year. And so it'll have an opportunity to look different with older, larger children coming in. So that'll be exciting to see how that looks. But West Trenton is starting to take shape. Lots of work there. Kudos to Dwayne Mosley and his team and Mrs. Howard and that team for really doing a lot of work during the year that you couldn't see, that's now starting to show up because we're able to take care of the cosmetic part. We did the internal part of the building. So we're excited to see that building operational.
I'm not sure if I saw if it was at West. One of the schools I saw backhoes and tractors and stuff out in the field doing the work, getting things done. So yeah, you actually can see work.
Yeah,
taking shape.
Yeah, they're getting it done, and it's amazing what crews can do in a week. Because you know, I've walked in and said, I don't know about this. Go back to next week and go, this looks pretty good. Now I've gone in and go, yeah, I can see this. So it just, you know, you get good crews that focus. And before you know it, you're able to open sites and buildings. That happens with construction all the time. And so the middle school's done, Holland and MLK or Martin Luther King. You can see the capacity of Dunn, for instance. Remember, one of the major goals was to reduce the capacity of Dunn. And with the capacity being 1,100, we've come down from almost 1,000 now to a total of 715 students as it stands right now. So that's significant, 300 students. We don't anticipate getting back to 1,100 or 1,000, but we have space for growth if that's necessary. The team is excited, have a new principal there, and Carolyn Mouzon and her team, we're excited that they're gonna do a tremendous job. The principal who used to be at Holland at Dunn is now at Holland, Melissa Wyatt, and of course, Victor Fornath, who was at Rivera, is now the principal at Martin Luther King. So they're doing a tremendous job scheduling, partnering about what's going to take place at the 7-8 level. So real excitement there. It's been a really productive summer with that group and all groups, but really like the way that team started before we ever asked, thinking about how they may serve 7-8 children. So that's exciting. So just we always we think this is important because the question, so where will my child go to? For instance, you're looking at, for radio listeners, we're looking at the 6th through to 7th feeder pattern. So in other words, where do you go from 6th grade to 7th grade? That transition from 6th grade, the 4-6 school. So if you're at Grant in the 4-6 school, you'll go to Dunn or King. Hedgepeth Williams, you'll go to Dunn or King. And then when you see this, you'll see that whole setup. Jefferson will go to King or Holland. That says West State, but we will be changing all the information here for the next presentation. Kilmer 4-6 will now go to King or Holland. Monument will go to Dunn, King, or Holland based on address. And then Parker will go to Dunn or Holland. We did the same thing with the next screen. That's the 3rd to the 4th feeder patterns. And you can see, I won't read them all. For instance, Franklin would go to Hedgepeth Williams Intermediate or Parker Intermediate. So it gives you a sense. We want to let families know, if I go to this school, here's where I'm likely to go. And if your address is closer and you make a pitch to move, we don't mind that possibility. And we're entertaining everything. It just is we won't be able to accommodate everything. So this is exciting to know. PJ Hill, you'll go to Grant. They're close to each other. McKnight or Wilson will go to Grant, Hedgepeth, or Jefferson to one of those schools. So lots of work being done there. When you see the maps, you can get a sense of where you might end up as a student and a family for the next 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is. Benefits to reorganizing. I talked about these up front. We go back to them because we want you to know that was always the focus, and we didn't lose focus. Opening 5 new buildings. We want class sizes to stay low. We don't have to request a waiver for oversized kindergarten classes anymore. More students attending neighborhood schools. I talked about how important it is. If a school is full, we can now see a school that's not far away and it's not across town, and then adding those programs like special education and bilingual. And then room for anticipated growth, because if the demographer is correct, we will continue to grow and our sizes will only increase. And so we want to be able to add those sections, add the teachers, add the classes in the locations where we can. The unfortunate part is we're full in the south part of Trenton. So we're thoughtful about that, and we're looking at opportunities to maybe gain a new school. We'll see how that goes, but right now we're going to take advantage of all of our opportunities to get students closer to home in this new reorganization. And that pretty much ends the presentation. This will be live. As I said, there's so many moving parts. I want to reiterate that this will change each week. And our team is doing a good job of staying on top of it. We're trying to answer every question, every phone call. If you wake up and you haven't been in district or you left for a little while and returned, might be wise to reach out because you're likely in a new school with lots of new conditions and we want you to be up to date. So thank you again to Mr. Trueheart and Mrs. Crease for allowing me to come on and share. I look forward to sharing again prior to the start of school. This is a great, exciting opportunity with so many positive things as the outcome. And so we're really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. I was muted. Thanks. Denise, you have any questions for our superintendent based on the presentation?
Actually, I do. Being that all of the elementary sites, which is now considered K-6, will have the same start time, will there be before care or before activity at each of these school sites? Because we know that a parent that has multiple children, the challenges that they will face if the start time is all at the same time and having to stagger the drop-off period. So I'm sure families are wondering, will there be, that 30-minute opening prior to, so that there's that wiggle room for families that have multiple drop-offs.
Yep, so that, as it was in place last year, before care, it's not before care, it's, there's an official name we
I'm
use.
sorry.
But
It's an AM/PM program?
AM/PM support or supervision, we will have that in all of our K-6 schools. So
Awesome. Good to know.
families can count on that structure being available.
Awesome. And then just for the audience to know, start times have not changed for elementary, middle, or high school.
Correct. Now that 6th graders are considered elementary, they're on the elementary start time, but they were 5th graders last year for those returning, so this would not be new for them. And then the seventh grade is 30 minutes later or something like that. And then of course, high school starts at, they start earlier. So
They're
I'm
7:30.
sorry. Yeah, it's in reverse. High school is 7:30, middle school's 8, and I think elementary is 8:45.
Right.
So that sounds, so that's the same thing. Anything considered elementary and intermediate. So intermediate elementary is 4 through 6. So it's the 4-6 schools and the K-3 schools. And then the 7-8 schools are on a different schedule, and then high schools on a different schedule.
That's important.
Start
That's
time.
important. Yes.
Mhm.
Good question, Denise. That's important information as we redistrict and folks, change. School is very important for parents to note the grade span, whether it's elementary, middle, or high school, so they know what time the school starts. We're sure we're going to be communicating that out.
We will.
Voicemails and letters and all that kind of stuff. So it's not, don't be alarmed, but we just want you to know, and you'll be notified, I'm sure, of where you stand. So any questions in the chat on Facebook or?
There was a question in regards to how many children are in the SPED classrooms. I guess what's the capacity? What does that look like?
So yeah, it's by the type of class or the program, I should say. If you are in an autism classroom, there are limits. There's limits in a resource pullout. There's limits in an LLD class. There are limits in even an in-class resource can have so many gen ed students and so many, a max capacity of special education students. So I'd have to give you like the specifics on all of those, but whatever the is required by law, we follow. And if we exceed that, we have to get special permission from lots of people. And so,
For sure.
yeah, so
just for clarification, there, it's not the same as a general education classroom, which holds about 23 kids, because they saw on the sheet that there's 21 kids. So that does not mean that that's just one classroom, just to provide clarity for that one person that was asking the question.
No, but it could mean that 21 students for a gen ed class includes, could include 8 special education students, for instance.
An inclusive classroom.
Yeah. Right, that's inclusion, but if it's more specific, like if it's an autism room, you can have no more than say 6. And so we're just saying 21 is the max, but it is based on IEP and programming, so.
Fantastic. So I guess this leads us to our close, and I just wanted to share with our parents and families that we are already preparing for the upcoming school year with our back to school extravaganza event. Sure. And you will be receiving a postcard mailing with the save the dates, which is Friday, August 26th from 10 to 2 p.m. here at the Trenton Board of Education parking lot, 108 North Clinton Avenue. And we're just really excited because we have a ton of community health and school resources that will be available. We will be giving away backpacks and school supplies, and there will be on-site health screenings, eye exams, and much more. So we look forward to welcoming you back for this upcoming school year. If you have any questions in regards to the superintendent's presentation, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. I will leave my email address on this Facebook Live, and this will also be recorded in case you miss pieces of it on our Trenton YouTube channel, and also will be on the Verizon Channel 28 TV station next week, as well as the broadcast on WIMG 13 AM.
Yep, so you got those times. So IMG Tuesday at 7, and then Thursday at 11 p.m. for Verizon Channel 28. And you know what, Denise? I'm so excited. I saw the billboard, and guess what was on that billboard? The extravaganza. I was actually driving. That was today. I was driving down Stuyvesant Avenue, and I look up and I say, "Wow! Of all the billboards, we have all the billboards around the city on attendance matters, and that they're exciting billboards." And then I'm riding down Stuyvesant Avenue on my way home from work, and I see a billboard about the extravaganza, and that got me really excited because that is one of the grand opportunities we have to come together as a community. And share our love with folks and our parents and our students. Last year was excellent. We had a great time last year. So I'm looking forward to another great time this year on August 27th. So thanks for all the work that you're doing around.
Oh yeah, we're really excited. And we're also gonna be on Power 99 FM. We have commercials that will be posted in regards to the event. So we're really excited.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. Trenton Talks, WIMG 1300 AM and Verizon WPHY. Thanks so much for our co-host Denise Crease, our parent liaison and homeless coordinator, and just doing an awesome job. Appreciate you. And our superintendent, Mr. James Earle. Man, you are on fire. Amen, for our community. And I'm sure that we're going to be so successful with our redistricting. I mean, just from this update now and then another update coming before the start of the school year, everyone should be informed and have all the information they need to be on their way to a successful school year. And
Yes.
so just really, any last word, getting some last words to you, Mr. Earle, and then we'll close out.
Just want to thank our parents and our families for the support in this transition, really for my whole first year. And so this was difficult, and we have received tons of challenge, but with challenge comes lots of support. I think people are so excited for new opportunities. So I'm looking forward to it. Just want to thank everyone.
All right, everyone have a good night. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Mr. Earle.
We'll see you.